If you're a golf lover, join in on fun discussions about golf from the perspective of two plugged-in Minnesota golf geeks, Brad Cole and David Branstad. This is 10,000 Swings.
Hello and welcome back to 10,000 Swings. It is Wednesday, July 7th, 2021, and we are coming to you live from Rush Creek Golf Club in Maple Grove. I'm Brad Cole.
I'm David Branstad, and I'm the reason we're coming live from here due to some internet issues that my lawn is currently being dug up for.
Sounds like a fun day. 10,000
Great
Swings
day.
is brought to you by Jarrett Yalen with Northwestern Mutual. For whatever financial questions you have, call Jarrett with Northwestern Mutual at 612-209-4523 or check out www.jarrettyalen.com. He can do retirement planning, life insurance, and now he's actually available for college student athletes to consult for any NIL questions. He tweeted this week, "Congratulations to all the NCAA student athletes on the NIL announcement. Please seek proper tax and planning advice. 1099 income is a different world." So there's a lot going on with everything, and we will talk about the NIL on this week's show, but a lot of good stuff there happening with Jarrett. So give Jarrett a call today for any financial questions. We've got a great show this week that will include, hopefully, the Rocket Mortgage Classic, the match, and I think this is episode 6 of the match, the NIL, and 3M Open player commits. We just had one just happen in the last hour here. So a lot of exciting stuff and much more. But first, it is 4th of July week. It's family time, and we thought, what a great time to bring on a true Minnesota golf family, the Stendahls from Rush Creek. So they're going to talk about junior golf, college golf, much more. And we have Derek, the dad, Jenny, the mom, Ryan, the son, and Abby, the daughter, the Stendahl family. I feel like as I'm introducing you guys, I feel like I'm Steve Harvey on Family Feud. Welcome to the show, guys. How are we doing?
Yeah, thanks. We're happy to have you here at Rush Creek tonight. So kind of fun. Our home away from home.
Yeah, and to for our listeners to know, you guys literally live a mile from the course. Is that correct? Is it actually a mile and not even?
Yeah, I walked home today, so that puts it in perspective.
Yeah, not too far of a walk.
So she'd know because she's had to map it. So something like that.
That's awesome. Well, we've got again a true Minnesota golf family. So Derek and Jenny, if you guys could talk a little bit about yourselves and how you got started in golf, and where you've gone with golf and what brings you to what you guys do now, that'd be awesome to kind of give our listeners a little background on what you do.
Sure. Well, I think the unique thing is for us is that we both worked here at Rush Creek since it opened in 1996. We just had our 25-year anniversary for Rush Creek a couple weeks ago, and on June 10th. But I'm originally from Wisconsin, and kind of grew up playing with my dad and some friends all the way through high school. Played 2 years at University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, and then they Title IX got rid of men's golf because they added women's soccer, so that helps. Then I transferred down to Mississippi State and went through one of the professional golf management programs, and finished up there, luckily. And the Rush Creek was just about getting ready to open, and the original head pro here, his name was Jeff Budd, was a Wisconsin guy as well, and a Mississippi State guy, so kind of had a connection. Called him up. He was literally in the moving van in Sauk Prairie, Wisconsin, heading up here. His dad said, "Hold on, let me catch him for you." And came in. We talked a little bit. Said, "Sounds great. Send me your resume. When I get up there, I'll hook you up." And luckily, that connection made it, because I'm still here 25 years later, and he's been gone for quite a while. And this is where I met Jenny, so she can tell you about her first day here too.
Yeah, and Derek, did you start as a first assistant or second assistant, or what was your title when you started here?
I was probably like the third assistant, really. I mean, it wasn't even a year-round position at that point. First year I worked, and then I drove a food truck for the winter to kind of get me through. And then I think after the third year I was full-time, because then that's when Jeff left. So I was like the shop manager. They wouldn't give me the head professional title right away, but then after that year, I became the head pro for about 10 years, and now I've been the GM for about the last 11. So
Derek, I have a question. For you. You went to the PGM school, Mississippi State, and you say you got through it luckily, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you this question because I went to Coastal Carolina University through the PGM. I did not make it out of there luckily. It was a little much with a lot of golf courses around. What was your experience like at Mississippi State?
I'll tell you, you think of Mississippi State and a kid coming from Wisconsin, it's a big cultural change, right? I mean, you're coming from above the Mason-Dixon line, and it's a big difference. But at that time, there was only 3 schools in the country that had the PGM program. It was Mississippi State, Ferris State, and New Mexico State. And it didn't make any sense to me to go to Ferris State because they still have winter, and New Mexico was quite a ways away. So, and I also had a friend or two that was already at Mississippi State. So, kind of got some connections there, and he said, you know what, it's fun. Got down there, and I loved it. It was a great campus. It's a small town, Starkville, or Stark Vegas as it's known now, because they just won the NCAA baseball championship. But in the PGM program, let's say there's 200 guys that were in the program. It felt like about 150 of them were from the north or from the east. A lot of guys. So it was instant friendships and instant connections with guys, and a lot of golf. And you could always find a game. You could always find guys that you knew in classes. So I thought it was a great experience for me.
That's awesome. I loved Coastal Carolina, and I loved South Carolina. It's a beautiful state. I had a lot of fun there. I can promise you I was the only Yankee in that program at that school.
Well, and now I think don't quote me, but I think there's like Arizona State has it, or Florida State. I mean, there's a bunch of named schools or known schools that have the program. So who knows if I would have ended up at Mississippi State, but I'm pretty glad I did.
Well, it's crazy too. A kid that Ryan played with last week is going to a PGM program, and I was so happy to hear his mom tell me that, because working here, I just feel like there's not a lot of assistance coming up, and so I was thrilled that he was going. She said his dad was really worried that he's not going to be able to play any golf. Everyone tells him, don't get in the golf business if you want to play golf. And, I said, yes and no. I mean, I said, for myself, you're right. I probably don't play, but I feel so blessed to have a career in a passion that I love. And I said, my husband is in the business and he still plays plenty. You just have to find the time to make it part of what you do. So anyway, I was glad that program's still alive, and we have a Mississippi State intern working for us this summer too. So
that's awesome. So, I mean, Derek, your story is pretty unique in that, you essentially went from a third assistant role to a GM role all at one facility. You just don't see that very often, but it's nice. I think, especially for our listeners within the section that are listening, that gives a little hope. There's a lot of people that feel like it's just hard to make the climb, right? And you're truly the definition of, working from the very beginning all the way up. So that's very cool. Now, Jenny, you grew up in Owatonna. Yep. And formerly, she's in all the Gopher record books as Jenny Trenda, correct? Yep. So you played junior golf, and then what happened from there?
Record books might be a stretch, but roster, yes.
Rosters are fine. You still did it. You were a D1 athlete. It's pretty awesome. So tell us a little bit about your background in Owatonna and growing up as a Gopher, and then how you got to where you're at.
Yeah. So, one of the things I always tell my staff is an interesting fact about me is that I've only ever worked at a golf course. So just got into golf through my family, worked at Owatonna Country Club growing up. Like you said, went to the Gophers, was, obviously blessed with the opportunities to play some great courses, meet great people, and just be involved in a Division I program there. And actually, I feel like it did lead me to my job here too, because I happened to have a teammate the first summer that we were all going to stay up in the cities and not go back home. We were all looking for jobs at golf courses because then we could play. And I had a teammate who said, you should check out this course in Maple Grove. I heard it's opening up, and, never heard of it. Drove out here. It was in the middle of nowhere, no houses, nothing. And we pulled up and was like, wow, this place is amazing, and then I met Jeff Budd, interviewed and got the job. So I worked in the golf shop, just as a counter person. But I think Rush Creek quickly grew much bigger than they thought, when they put it all together. So suddenly we had all these events, and, so then they were like, hey, could you do the merchandise? Because I kind of had an interest in that. And I said, sure, I love it. And then I graduated, from the Carlson School of Management, and I don't think my mom was thrilled, that I was taking unemployment right after getting my degree. But I just had such a passion and love for this place, and it worked out. And so then, they said, hey, do you want to take on the tournaments? And so I took that on, and, so it's kind of the same, Derek and I just kept staying around, and more kept falling on our plate. And, I think we worked hard and loved this place so much, and then just ended up falling all together for us.
That's pretty great. Ryan, tell us a bit. So you are 14, almost 15, or you turned 15?
I'm 15, almost 16.
15. So you're going into your sophomore year of high school.
Grove, yeah.
When did you play your first round of official golf? Were you 3, 4?
I think so. I think there's a picture of me with some classic clubs out here. So I think, probably 3 or 4.
I actually was just thinking about this because the only day it's like dead quiet around here is the 4th of July. Like, it's the only day when it's not busy, because at like 2 o'clock, nobody tees off. And so the first time we ever brought him out here was on the 4th of July. I don't know what year, two or three, probably.
Yeah.
2.
Yep.
And tell us a little bit, Ryan, about, you obviously played other sports growing up, and you're playing just golf now, correct? Are you still playing hoops?
I don't know what I'm going to do. I might do like the house league or something, but yeah, I'm mainly focused on golf.
And give us in the last 2 years, what was your most enjoyable moment on a golf course? Was it winning state as a freshman as a team? Or was it shooting 61 in the Twin Cities Junior? Well, what was your favorite moment of junior golf so far in the last year or so?
I think it has to be state, just because my team and who I was with, like all 6 of the people that are on my team were like some of my best friends right now, and that was like once in a lifetime memories I'll never forget.
And can you talk a little bit about what it's like being on a 6-man team with 5 seniors and you're the freshman?
A lot of jokes at you, that's for sure. But I learned to handle them. Shout out to Josh for making the most.
That's awesome. So, Abby, you're going into 8th grade, correct?
Yep.
And when do you remember first playing golf? Were you a little bit older when you started, or did you start playing right away when you could walk? What was your kind of background getting started?
I was older than Ryan when I started. I didn't get into it until a few years ago. But, I started playing tournaments, and now I play a lot more consistently.
So we also have pictures of her, like, on her car seat on the cart, and him coming out. So she was definitely out here. Like, I remember having her where she can barely sit up and next to a pin, and he's putting. So she's been out here, but I think a big thing with us and our kids was we were always, or I know I was, I don't know if you could say the same, Derek, but I didn't want them to resent the fact that, like, golf was our whole life. Like, oh my gosh, you're always at Rush Creek. So I feel like I was really careful to push it on them because I did not want them to feel that. And he took to it more right away, but Abby was more of the stubborn type, whereas if you told her, you wanted to do something, she wanted to do the opposite. So she definitely took more time to come to it on her own.
Jen, it's funny you say that because I have 6 and 10-year-old boys, and I've been in the golf business since I was 11 or 12. And of all the sports my kids play, this is the one sport I do not push them to play. It's almost like if you guys want to play this, I want you to play it, have fun. I'm not going to push you to do this at a high level. If you do and you love it, great. And ironically, now they're getting to the age where it's like they want to come out to the golf course and they want to come and play. I mean, football is still probably their passion, and currently baseball is that season's just wrapping up. But it's interesting you say that, because I think once you're in this profession, you're around it so much, it's like you don't want them to hate it because you're in it and that's your life.
Yep.
And I think you don't want it to feel forced.
Well, I was just gonna say, and with Abby, and it always goes this way too, right? So, like you say, she wants to do the opposite of what you say, and of course, she's got the best swing of all of us. I mean, not hands down. And then, so she'll go and she'll hit a couple balls, and then she'd be like, "Oh, let's go look over here." And we're just saying, "Man, if you just start paying attention to what you're doing here, you could be really, really good." And then it's like, "Oh, that's fine." And then she'll go 3 weeks later, come back and hit a few more, and it'd just be perfect positions. And I to this day, I keep saying she's got the best swing out of everybody. Now she's actually figuring out what that means and kind of some of those little intricacies of the swing. And it's really fun to see how she's kind of taken that onto herself here last year or so.
So Maple Grove.
Abby, you're like my son Liam. All weekend up north at the cabin, I kept trying to get him to jump off the dock, jump off the boat. He's 6, just kind of learning to swim. I'm like, dude, we just jump off the dock. He won't do it. He won't do it. He won't do it. Then when no one's looking, what is he going to do? Yep. I'm just going to sprint off this dock and I'm going to jump in. I'll show you guys.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I love it.
So in 2021 state high school tournament, Ryan's a part of the boys Maple Grove team that wins state. Abby's on the JV team for the girls, and as a team, Maple Grove girls took second this year, or where did they finish in state?
Yeah, they finished second.
Second place. So you're a 7th grader. Do you have opportunities next year to be able to play as an 8th grader then on varsity, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think if I put a lot of work into my swing and my game this summer, that I would chance to be on varsity next year.
Nice. Talking about putting work in. How's that sound, Derek? I like it.
I've heard it. now we'll see it. But no, I'll say that Maple Grove boys and girls has a tremendous program, and I think you'll see, even with the boys team and losing 5 seniors, right? You can't replace that. But all the kids coming up in both programs are in a really good spot, and so we're very excited to see what Maple Grove will do as far as the boys program and the girls, and maybe we'll touch on this a little bit, but we take a little bit of sense of pride in that too, because our Rush Creek Junior program has really started to mold some of these kids, and we're just getting to that age where they're going to get to the high school and be able to perform at a pretty high level.
Yeah, so I have
a quick question on this actually. I'm trying to look this up as we speak, and I can't find it fast enough. But what is the state high school league record for boys golf? Because this had to have come close this year for what Maple Grove did.
We heard it was a record. I don't know. That, like, people were telling us that their scores were a record, but I don't know. Did you hear that?
Lowest score?
Yeah, so I think what David's referring to is day 2 at state. You guys shot 283, right? 5 down.
Yeah.
So 5 down at Bunker Hills from 6,600 yards, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know how there could be a team that was strong. Like that's just such a ridiculous number. It's I don't think anyone's touched it for the single day. You might not have got the 2-day because you guys went a bit higher the first day, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys shoot 300 the first day?
I think so. It was in the
303, I think it was.
303, yeah.
You're down 3.
Yeah. So I think the second day, I'm pretty sure that's a record. I mean, 500 is just that's a D1 program.
It was great in the sectionals. They were 281, I think, in their second round, and they threw out a 72. I mean,
and that was at Bunker as well, right?
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, I mean,
believe me, I'm still counseling some SLP golfers from that sectional tournament.
Yeah, Ryan knows some of those guys well too. Great players over there as well.
Yeah.
So all of these programs, seeing all these kids is amazing. We had the Minnesota-Wisconsin Cup matches out here last week, and it's just so fun to see these kids perform. But even more than that, I mean, I love the friendships they build through this, and it's awesome.
So the first thing I think of when I see Spring Lake Park and Maple Grove at the top of the state is Spring Lake Park kids must all be out at TPC or Victory Links.
Yep.
And all of the Maple Grove kids have to be not only at Rush, but at the MAC 9 specifically at a young age, probably, right? Getting this going. And you guys started the MAC 9, when was it built? 10 years ago? Is that about right?
2012, we opened it. Yeah.
So for our listeners that don't know about the MAC 9, just bring your kids out to the MAC 9 at Rush Creek and tell me you're not going to have a good time, because you just have to check it out. I think anyone that's been here has always come back. And Derek, can you talk a little bit about the reason why you guys built it and what it's been able to do and what the course is like?
Sure. So we have our golf academy, our director of instruction, Aaron Jacobson, and our second instructor over there, Charlie Levis. 10, 12, 13 years ago, we started this junior program where we really tried to capitalize on all the new building around here and all the new homes and this community of Maple Grove and how much it's grown. It was one of those things where the number of kids that started to have interest in golf really started to blossom. And Aaron and I and Jenny, we kind of get it going, but Charlie really has done a great job of running this junior program. And we get all these kids, and we started talking like the first year, second year, have a couple hundred kids, and they'll be like, yeah, this is great. And you start them at 3, 4, or 5 years old. And that was really fun to see. But then, where do you go from there? And we started to look at all our space around here, and, we're almost outgrowing it. And the tough part about the junior program here was that you can't get them on the big course. It's a big course, and it's busy and a lot of stuff going on, and it's just hard to say, okay, we're going to spend Thursday mornings and it's all going to be junior. It's a tough choice. So we had this extra land out here, and I had talked to our owner, and I said, hey, maybe we're thinking about building 1 or 2 new greens, maybe a couple holes, just so we could use that for the junior program. And as that kind of snowballed, we just started talking about maybe 3 holes, and then maybe 3 holes the next year and whatever. And then she's just like, you know what, let's just build the whole thing. So we just built a 9-hole course with an extra putting green. And, they're all about 100 yards, give or take. And it's just been amazing for this program. So now we have this entire golf course over there that can be utilized by the junior program. And it's now, we could move it up to the ages, so they could be competitive if they wanted to, up into the age of 12 to 13, so it was right at the time, it was a perfect timing for it. And it's just, our junior program has been amazing, and we're just starting to see a lot of those kids get to that next level here of being competitive statewide.
I mean, Brad, it's like perfect for, when you have kids your age, your kids' age, and I see so many families out here, with the little 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, they're hauling their own bag, and they feel like they're playing real golf. That's the coolest thing about it, and that's how they get hooked on it. So it's just great for families.
No, 100%. I think it's really cool. We've been talking a lot on the show about the new gravel pit that is being built right now in Brainerd, and right off the outside edge of Craigens there, that Chuck is going to run. And there's just some really cool things happening. I think people have seen the success of what you're doing, the sandbox over at Sand Valley, and people are realizing that people don't always have 4 to 6 hours, but maybe 1 to 2 hours is realistic. And especially for someone that doesn't hit it as far, it's essentially taking Operation 36 to the next level is kind of my thought, and just making it its own little course. So really cool stuff happening on the junior golf side. And we just love that you guys have done that for our community. It really is a very cool concept, and it's just so cool to see all the success 10 years later from this area, because all these kids are just, they've got a course. They've actually got somewhere that is a good fit for them. So it's pretty cool. So, when we have new people on the show, we always want to ask a couple different questions. But the first one I want to ask each one of you, we'll just go from Ryan over to Derek. But Ryan, who is your favorite golfer?
2 years ago I would have said Speed, but I think it's Max Homa right now. Just because
Max Homa, nice.
Homa, wow.
I listen to his podcast too, and I like how he's up to date on social media. So I'm going to say Max Homa.
Have you sent him your swing yet and told him to destroy it?
I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't think I can handle that. I don't think I can handle his critiques.
How about you, Jenny?
So Ryan's, I'm bad at these one answer questions, so you're gonna have to take a longer answer. I'm gonna say it's very hard for me between Rory, Spieth, and Ricky. Probably Rory, but I really like the nice guys. Obviously, with like, I harp on Ryan and Abby about how important it is to just, be a good person, and so I'm always pulling for those guys. It sounds like, you never know if you're getting the real story, but it sounds like they're kind of the good guys on tour. So
she does not like Kepka.
Hey, it's definitely, a lot of these guys are acquired taste, right? Like, it's pretty hard for anyone to say they dislike Rory or Ricky. Like, those guys are pretty lovable, but a lot of other guys are very acquired tastes. I actually, in the last year, have become way more of a Phil fan than I ever was before, just because of his social media presence has been unbelievable in the last year. And like him mic'd up on the match, like a couple of these, he's been unbelievable. I liked him, whereas like watching Bryson on the match, I think I even dislike him more now. So
oh my gosh, I went opposite on that because Ryan's asking me like, how could you not say Phil? Because when the U.S. Open was at Hazeltine, I like stalked Phil every day. He gave me his golf ball. Like, I've been the biggest Phil fan, and I still am. But like on the match, I was like, okay, this is so over the top. Like, please stop. Like, it was so much.
But
I'm so on your side though. Like, Phil was over the top that entire match, and no one can sit here and tell me that $40 million sitting out there for your social media presence and what you're gonna do for the good of the game has nothing to do with this, right? I mean, Phil stole the show. He took command. He was the commentator. He was asking Bryson what to do. He's asking Rodgers what he thought of. I won't dive into this match later, but
yeah, no, that's a good one person answer, Jenny. Thank you. Abby, who is your favorite golfer?
Sarah Burnham is probably close, just because I've met her before and she's golfed up here, and she's just so nice and she's such a good golfer, and I just want to hit scores like hers. That's
awesome. Great pick. Derek?
Kind of the same. I think growing up, I was a huge Greg Norman fan. I know I'm dating myself, but then, you can't ask four people and not have somebody mention Tiger, right? I mean, for what he does. But now if Rory's on the board, I'm all about that. I think I like his message. I like his kind of his positivity and just kind of the way he carries himself is really fun.
Ryan's definitely up there on my top favorite golfers too.
Nice. but not Dad?
We're not quite there.
Derek, I thought for sure you were going to say Andy North. I thought you were going to stay in Wisconsin.
Well, no. Probably not. I was, you could probably put Stricker in there.
Or Jerry Kelly?
Yeah. He is fun.
Nice. So starting with Ryan,
Andy North actually came out and did a clinic for us a few years ago when I was at Oak Ridge, and he was really good, and he was amazing with the members and the kids and talking to them and making this really special about themselves. I am not a Wisconsin person. I am a Minnesota person. Maroon and gold all the way through, but I was pretty impressed with his presence and the way he conducted himself around these kids and
families. He's a good dude. He's a good guy.
He's a really good dude.
So then a follow-up question, what is your favorite course, starting with Ryan? And yes, you can say the Mac 9.
I have to say I played Winsong for the first time this year, so that, or Minneapolis Golf Club. And I have a quick story. So me and my dad were tied on the 18th. I've never beat him before.
At where?
At Minneapolis Golf Club.
Oh, Minneapolis.
and I hit it on the green. I think I'm fine. He hits it way over, like dead. I think I have him, and he chips a side hill bank shot just in, and I lose. But thankfully I beat him, or else I'd still be pretty mad at that. But yeah, those are mine too.
So
Nice.
yeah, you can ask the greatest shot I've ever hit in my life. Hands down, that was the one.
So, hole 18 at MGC, if you go over the green, you're basically toast. And
Yeah.
there's usually some pretty good spinach back there, too. So, you got to have like a side hill, downhill slider, and you just make it on the kid to beat him?
Yep, just right in his face. I'm not a real big demonstrative type person and all that, but I think that was probably the biggest celebration I've possibly ever had.
I'm assuming there was like a full flex after that, right? Like
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Surprised you didn't give him the Patrick Reed.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, Jenny, favorite course? Owatonna CC?
No,
What is it?
I'm going Augusta. Obviously, never played it. Seen it twice. I gotta go Augusta.
Abby?
I haven't played a whole lot of super nice big courses yet, but I just really like Rush Creek.
Yeah.
Well played. Abby gets free Wi-Fi for the next month.
Starbucks.
How about you, Derek?
I've been lucky enough to play Augusta, and you can't beat it. It's a pretty cool place. You know, I keep saying that the only way you can describe it is that you stand on the first tee and you feel like you've played it 100 times because you've seen so much of it, and it really was that feel. So you kind of, I mean, you know exactly where to hit it, where to miss it, you know, all that. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that's great. So, dream foursome. You each get to play yourself and 3 other people, and they can be dead or alive. You can pick any course in the world. It's yourself and 3 other people, and there are no rules, no limits. It can be best friends from school. It can be random actors, comedian, anyone. Whoever wants to start, but it's you and 3 other people, any course you want.
I can. I'm picking Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, and Tiger Woods. 3 goats, and I'm just gonna ask them so many questions that they'll probably leave after 9.
And what course?
I'll just take Augusta just because of the history.
That seems like a good option.
Yeah.
That seems like a great option.
I'm deferring this question because you don't want a long answer. If you want to come back to me at the end, go ahead. But you guys go.
Probably go me, Sarah Burnham, Michelle Lee West. I play 6 holes with Tiger, 6 holes with Phil, 6 holes with Rory.
Sub them in and out.
Yep.
I love it. That's
Wow.
awesome.
Junior League style.
Yeah.
I say I don't think we've had that type of answer yet. We're just going to sub players in and out for this dream foursome. Well done.
It is.
I like it, Abby. How about you, D?
I guess you could probably say you have the historical group. You know, I would love to see. I just really like the Bobby Jones and the Walter Hagen, that type of stuff. But I mean, if you're asking me, I lost my dad about 9 years ago. I'd love to do that with he and you know, and us 4, make it a 5, something like that would be pretty cool. So I guess I would stay with kind of more of the emotional group.
That was when I saw that question, I tried to think of what was the most memorable group I had been in. And I was like, celebrities I don't think do it for me. And it reminded me of when Derek and I played with my dad and his dad was the best round I could think of. And then I thought, if I had a wish, it would be Derek's dad, Derek, and these 2 to be able to play. Because I know his dad was a high school coach in Wisconsin, Hall of Fame coach. And I just know how much he would love to see these guys playing.
That'd be pretty cool. No, that's the thing. We try to make no rules. If your foursome becomes a 7-some or an 8-some, or if Abby's subbing people in and out and tag teaming, whatever, it's the idea is just, you know, it's the Jeff Munichie gold question of all time. Like, if you could play anywhere you want, where do you want to play? Who do you want to be with?
Sure.
And it's a pretty.
And by the way, all of your answers together combined was in less amount of time than Jeff Munich could answer that question.
Well, the best is if you ask Mune, it depends on the month or the year. He'll switch it up sometimes based on different courses he's seen or different people, and it's kind of fun. There's just so many different directions you can go with it. So a lot of fun.
I was lucky enough to play with Mune at the Tape Mark last year with he and Ty, his son Ty, and Jesse, the other from PXG, and that's a pretty fun group. And so. Yeah. You can make fun of Mune for all those, but he brings it. When he's in your group, so that's a lot of fun.
Well, and Derek's a hole-in-one when playing with them, so they've probably had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
absolutely. No, and speaking of Mune, I'm about to tie into some PXG stuff here quickly, but we're going to start a new segment, and Mune actually came up with this. It's called Things They've Tweeted, and he basically wants us to just start doing like a table read of things that different people are tweeting. And Brandy talked earlier about the PIP and the $40 million that's up for grabs. Jim Herman, a PXG athlete, has decided to take this to a whole nother level. And he just tweets every day and hashtags PIP every time. And it's pretty funny that he's just trying, I don't think he has a huge following, but he's not holding anything back, just going for it. So I'll read the last week of Jim Herman's tweets.
He does TV. He's got almost 16,000 followers.
He's trending. He's going up quickly.
Yeah, it's not bad.
On June 28th, Golf TV tweeted, "What is the worst feeling in golf?" And he wrote, "Finishing 11th in the PIP race," because that would get out of getting paid. Then a couple days later, he tweeted and said, "Upcoming schedule: play John Deere, defend Barbasol title, prep for fantasy football draft, play the WGC FedEx, defend the Wyndham title." Remember, he had those 2 wins last summer. Win 40 million PIP. Mail everybody who likes and retweets this some money. So he's going down a direction here that's pretty hilarious. He had another one the day after. It says, "Jim Herman has declined to speak with the media following last night's 0-4 2-strikeout wiffle ball performance. Hashtag PIP."
How about June 22nd? Was informed by high place sources this morning that my Cinderella-like run at the $40 million hashtag PIP is getting traction. Might order extra guac on my Chipotle tonight.
And last night during the match, he tweeted and said, "I'd wrestle that bear in a heartbeat. Hashtag PIP, hashtag 40 million." So we thought it'd be kind of fun to start, analyzing some people's tweets and the things they put on the internet. It's kind of funny.
How about this? If you go back, I'm just scrolling through his tweets here. Might spend my 40 million hashtag PIP on relief pitching hashtag at Reds.
That's pretty good. He's got some good stuff, and it's always fun to see. Social media for a lot of these guys is a great way to get to know them. I think Ryan already said it about Max Homa. We've learned so much more about Max Homa via social media than we ever would have just from watching tournaments, right? So it's kind of cool to see when they're doing good things and having some fun out there in the community. So speaking of Jim Herman, PXG guy, we do want our listeners to know that 10,000 Swings is brought to you by PXG, Parsons Extreme Golf. They have a new store in Southdale. Go check it out today. They've got all the way from Gen 1 to Gen 4 clubs available and a variety of price points. So they are taking appointments, and they are very busy. Derek, can you talk, and Jenny, can you guys talk a bit about the relationship with PXG and Rush Creek and how you've kind of seen this thing grow? Because their business has obviously grown a lot in the last 4 years here. Can you talk a bit about them?
Sure. Yeah, we you talk about crazy. And just to go back, I think if you go down to Jim Herman's again, I think one of his tweets was, "Little did you know I'm the voiceover on all the PXG commercials." But I think, and somebody will have to check me, but Adam Minnick, who was basically heading up PXG here in Minneapolis, called me. It must have been about 3.5, 4 years ago. I feel like it's kind of in that area. And Adam grew up around here and worked here at Rush Creek. He was like a bartender in our banquet side. And he called up after he finished up with Nike and said, "Hey, I just got hired by PXG." And I had heard of the name, obviously. I'd heard the brand, but at that point it was still one of those, are they $10,000? I mean, just it was, you know, just one of those brands that you see, but you never really had them in your hand. And he came out and we met at the golf academy, and he's like, hey, you know, I'm running this territory now, and they told me to find a hub location, like a headquarters. And first place I thought of was right here, and would love to see if we could partner up. And I thought it was like a kind of like a no-brainer for us. And so their first kind of headquarters was here at our golf academy, which is really funny to see how, you know, just that long ago, or not that long ago, they were taking over like one hitting bay and basically a stand-up desk, and that's all it was. And Adam was here, and he's like, I don't even have clubs to show you. I don't even have a van. I don't even have anything. But you guys want to be a partner? And we're like, sure. And so he started going through it, and, you know, going through all his training, and then he brought in Ty Munike, and they started here and kind of started their fitting system, and then it just kind of went, you know, exponentially after that. And now Adam, I don't know, every time I talk to Adam, he's been promoted to here and promoted to there, and now he might be running the place as far as we know.
Yeah, I think his new title is Bob Parsons. I think
Right,
he's
yeah.
actually running the show. So
Adam is, yeah, but I mean, talk about an energetic guy, right? That he's out there and just promoting his brand, and how good he does with that, and bringing in the right people. And I can vouch for that, about how important it is to have the right people around you, because I mean, you know, we have the best people here at Rush Creek, I think. But Adam brought in all the right people, and just amazing the numbers that they're doing for this type of a location or a region, compared to the Arizonas and the Floridas and all that. But it's been a really nice partnership with us, and couldn't be happier for them, and, you know, excited to see where it goes.
no, that's good stuff. So speaking of bringing in the right people, we got to get into the tour this week, and probably the biggest story. I mean, we had the Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit, defending champion Bryson DeChambeau, my fantasy pick for the week, for those keeping track at home. Right before he tees off.
Missed the cut, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, he did? Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. So thanks, David. Appreciate salt in the wounds.
Welcome. Welcome.
So Bryson splits with his caddy like hours before he tees off in the first round. And like you said, it's so important to get the right person, right? So like, even though there was this wonderful tournament that was going on, it seemed like the bigger story was Bryson and his caddy splitting. You know, obviously a huge, you know, 3 months of golf ahead of him here to finish the season, or, you know, two basically just down to two, really. And he shuts it down, like new caddy, new direction. Who knows what happened, but a very interesting tournament. Another playoff that this one went 5 holes. I think Joaquin Niemann had not made a bogey all week and made a bogey on the first playoff hole. Troy Merritt, our buddy from Spring Lake Park, was right down to the 5th playoff hole with Cam Davis, and unfortunately made a bogey. And Cam Davis goes out and gets his first win. So it was a very entertaining tournament again. 5 hole. I don't think I've ever seen an 8-hole playoff is so rare, and then to go 5-hole playoff the next week is pretty fun from that perspective. But again, it seems like everyone was talking about Bryson. What do you guys think? Like, who's going to be Bryson's next caddy? I mean, who wants that job? What do you guys think?
I don't know who would want that job. I
Well,
mean,
wait, what does it pay?
it has to be a lot.
10%.
If
10%.
If it's only 10%, then no, I'm out.
He's there from like 7 to 10. You like see him every night. Oh, I can see the TrackMan numbers. I'm good. I don't need the light. So it's like you wouldn't be able to sleep. And then you're off to the next week and off to the next week. Like, I don't know who would want that. But he's winning, so he's making money. So if you want money, and I would try, but I don't think I could.
I mean, could you imagine interviewing for caddy jobs, and you're talking with different players, and your first interview is with Bryson and your second interview is with DJ? Like, I'm assuming everyone would just run to go work for DJ. You think about how DJ, he's just so chill, right? Like I don't know that DJ ever knows anything about spin rates. I mean, they asked him what kind of putter he was using. He said it was a TaylorMade. Like, yeah, we know it's a TaylorMade. Whereas Bryson's talking about shaft angles on his putter, and all these different things. He's got, caddies spraying water on the ball on the range, to try to get the dew and all that. I mean, it's a whole nother deal, and I don't know. It should be very interesting. And then, we transition from that to the match. So now he fires his caddy. He misses a cut at a tournament he won last year, and then he shows up on Tuesday in Montana playing with Aaron Rodgers as a partner against Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady, and he wins. So what do you guys think about the match? I thought it was entertaining.
Obviously, he didn't seem too concerned about the caddy situation.
Just take a cart.
But, I mean, I had a tough time watching the match and just watching him slash at it time after time. When you were watching the regular tour, you only see bits and pieces of it. But, man, watching that swing every hole is kind of tough to take.
Here's what was kind of funny to me. If you watch that, you look at the shot tracker on some of those shots, holy crap. Yeah. He's hitting it so far offline. Yeah. It's not even funny when he takes those rips. And the other part I kind of enjoyed, and you guys are loyal listeners of the show, thank you. Bryson's a hot topic for us. He didn't look settled for 18 holes. I mean, it almost looked like, we just talked about this earlier, like Phil kind of took over the show with his commentary. I think Phil almost took him a little bit out of his comfort zone, and he couldn't quite get to where Bryson needs to get to play good golf. Now, with that said, I don't know if Bryson's really played all that great golf recently, but this isn't just the bomb and gouge show for him. It was, I actually really enjoyed watching this, and I typically don't enjoy watching this kind of stuff because I get bored because I have to watch them take a golf cart in between holes. And we talked about how long golf takes earlier. Well, now I have to watch all 18 holes from 4 people. It's a long time.
He had Aaron Rodgers putting for him, so that was the game changer. I think. I mean, he was pretty much the MVP of the match. I think. I mean, when you put both guys in perspective, I think you're right. I think Phil definitely got into Bryson's head, and so Bryson tries to push and press things a little bit. When you hit one, what was it, 480 or whatever?
He hit it 480, but he was ticked that he thought he hit it 550.
Yeah, but I think so. He started to push a little bit, but luckily he had A-Raj to fall back on because I don't think Brady helped out too much with Phil.
I loved having them look for their golf balls in the junk. Like, I found it hilarious to see them just trying to slash through these prickly bushes and whatever. Like, I think it's so funny. And you can see how mad Brady gets, how competitive he is. I find that funny. I thought Rodgers, kind of had the most humor. He has more of a subtle humor, but Phil was just kind of overtaking everything. I wish kind of he could have been more played up with his comments, but.
All right, so here's a question for all of you, and Brad, I want you to chime in on this too. And they did bring this up a little bit on the telecast. We talk about what your dream foursomes are going to be. Who do you want to see in the next match? You can't repeat anybody. Who would you want to see? And I'm actually not even that concerned about who you pick as tour and professionals, but who do you want to see as celebrities? I'm going to go right ahead and say, and he was on the show, or he was on air. I want to see Gronk. I want to see Gronk on here and playing this.
I think a Spieth versus JT would be pretty fun.
Okay, so who are you going to pair him with for amateurs?
Isn't Spieth good friends with Jake Owen? So I think they're friends, right?
Or Romo.
I think so.
Romo and Spieth, somebody was saying.
I like that.
Okay.
JT and someone from Kentucky or Louisville. I don't know, some hometown versus hometown.
No, I like it. I think you have to, at some point, they have to find a way to get Brooks versus Bryson and then whoever you want to compliment it with. But I just...
Do you need it? Do you need anyone else if you just have those two?
Well, I mean, you could throw in Patrick Reed and, whoever else you want and really make it wild. Except
no one's going to say a word for 18 holes.
That's a good point. They might not talk at all.
That's why Phil's important.
Yeah, the ratings would be very high for that. It's funny though to watch Twitter as you're watching that and see everyone's comments. And so many people are just ripping on it, like, this is terrible, I can't watch it. And I'm thinking, I think it, like you said, David, I mean, it's just fun to watch something different related to golf. And then you're seeing all this money they're raising and all these meals, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, how good is this?
I think it's
by
fantastic.
the way, if you're on Twitter still tweeting about it, you're still watching it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That I love that when people are complaining about something they're watching, but they continue to tweet throughout the entire show. It's like, hey, you're still giving them publicity even if you didn't love it. So, yeah, it's pretty entertaining. And speaking of golf tournaments coming up, we have the 3M Open right around the corner. So, it's time to be a fan again. It's a golf fan, a Thompson fan, a Wolf fan, a food fan, a get outside fan, a sports fan, an anything fan. So come out. Get loud. Go ahead and wear your golf gear or any fan gear. 3M Open is very open to fans. And unlike the event we watched last night, there will be a ton of fans there. It's July 19th through the 25th at the TPC Twin Cities. Tickets available at 3mopen.com/tickets. And that being said, what a big week for the 3M Open. We had Dustin Johnson, Bubba Watson, Matt Kuchar, Gary Woodland all commit this week, along with Ricky, Louis, Sergio. I've heard rumors that we might have some other big names committing soon. What do you guys think about? It should be a pretty good field, huh?
Very good, especially for the week after the British. I was surprised to see Dustin, which I think did he play last year or shoot 79 and withdrew or something like that?
Last year he played with Drew and then all of a sudden went on a tear right after that, right? It was like here in the Memorial he struggled and then he just went off.
Yeah.
if you remember, I think he took a 9 on hole 18.
Yeah.
I believe, and his back hurt after that, ironically.
Did you say somebody new was just announced like in the last hour? Or what? I thought at the beginning of the show you said something.
There's going to be another one very soon. Woodland and Kuchar were just announced tonight.
Okay.
But I'm hearing rumblings that there's another one coming pretty soon. So, and who knows? Depending on what happens with the British, there could be a few last-second ones as well. You know, if guys miss a cut, it could be very interesting.
There will be a 747 sitting at the British Open on Friday evening, ready to fly back anyone who wants to come and play. I shouldn't say anyone. That's not fair, but for most who want to play.
I tell you, we went, a couple years ago, when the first year, and just spent the day, and you may not have the marquee names, but man, you can get really close to a lot of these guys playing, and it is really impressive.
They are at the 3M Open this year too. Is they are stepping up the fan experience.
Yeah.
This is one of the first events with full fans. Obviously, one of the first events in Minnesota with full fans. Back to normal. There's no testing for the first time at this event for players, or no temp checks. This is a big deal for them. They are trying to put on a show, and believe me, 3M Open and Mike Welch and his staff and Hollis and everybody involved, they're gonna crush this.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're excited. I'm excited about Ricky coming.
Guys.
We get excited. Tom Hoagie's coming, and he's married to Kelly O'Brien, who from out here, so that'll be fun, and yeah, it'll be good.
Well, we've got Troy Merritt is in the field, I believe, and he played well 2 years ago. Van Rooyen wasn't sure if he was going to play or not, because he still has a lot of ties here. Him and his caddy as well, Alex Goggert. So it's, and obviously Lumpy and Lehman, I think, are both playing. I believe Angus is in the field, correct, David? So it's...
Angus got an honorary invite to this one.
Yep, and I think Brent Snyder's playing. He's our player of the year for the PGA, so he got an exemption.
And then we've got Snyder in the field. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So I think, I don't know, it should be a very fun week. Hopefully we'll see what weather brings. It's been an interesting weather summer. But, I can
tell you exactly what the weather is going to be. It's going to be 75 degrees. There will be no wind, and they will have a 0 challenge to shoot 20 under par. Unlike any other given week, we play every single time we're out there.
Yep.
Never fails.
Yeah, it's always good weather, it seems like, but that's okay. Could be worse things. People going low is not the biggest thing I lose sleep over at night. Birdies are cool. So,
Hey, we love birdies, and we love fans, and we love anyone that's going to come out and watch golf and get entertained. That's what we're there for.
no, for sure. And you actually, we brought up Angus. Angus did play this week, and I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. Is it the Forme Tour or Form, Forme? It's basically the replacement tour for the Mackenzie in America until the Mackenzie Canadian Tour gets back up and running. And Angus did play. Him and Andrew McCain both missed the cut, but Justin Doden from the Gophers actually shot 10 under in the final round to finish top 5. So we did have, along with Troy Merritt, some nice Minnesota performances, and then Cam Beckman gets his first Champions Tour winner. Pretty cool. The Pride of Burnsville plays plenty of rounds at brackets. I think he's 51 and got his first win holding off Ernie Els. So pretty cool to see some Minnesotans all over the board.
Cam Beckman winning a Champions Tour event is making me feel very old.
Yeah, well, and who knows? I'm not sure what Cam did to celebrate, but it is a good time to acknowledge that both, and also the match did as well. Corona Premier. So our show is brought to you by Corona Premier. Ryan and Abby, close your ears. It's a 2.6 carb, 90 calorie light beer. Again, if you like Corona, very, very light version of Corona. So a nice afternoon beer to enjoy on the golf course, or as Snoop Dogg and the commercials, I think, was drinking it at the beach. So that's, again, Ryan and Abby, close your ears, but that is another sponsor of our show on the adult side. So that's the last plug for the night. But we do have a conversation we always like to have, is talking about what is on your schedule, what do you got going, what's coming up. Derek, I know you played a match yesterday, a match today. What does your schedule look like? What did you just have, and what do you have coming up?
So I turned 50 in January, this last January, so I got to play senior events this year with the Minnesota PGA, so that's been fun. So that opened up a few more events, and so I got a few things going there, and we're going to go over to TPC and play in the Jaybird Classic, a kind of a charity event for Jay Norman over there, and that's a really cool event that they have done. I think it's the 3rd year for that. So I'll go play that on Monday, and then we have the State Open at Chaskatown, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So that'll be fun. And I think I'm at 1250 off of tee number 1, and he's at 1250 off of tee number 10. So we're get to go head to head.
Thank goodness for the carpool. That'll save me.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
That is awesome. So Ryan, what have you just played in? What do you have coming up?
Just finished the second chance qualifier, which I got into. I don't know, what was that? This Monday. So, yeah, qualified there, and then
he had a really experienced caddy on the bag carrying for him when it was like 98 degrees that day. They got him through. So yeah, I'll take a little bit of credit. Now he's on his own.
And that was the State Open qualifier. Where at?
Chaskatown. Second chance. So
cool.
Yeah. So then I have tomorrow. Actually, I have a players tour for the junior PGA at Bunker. Plenty of rounds there this year.
I was gonna say, do you know how to get around that track yet?
Yeah, we needed a practice run today. But yeah, that should be fun. And then yeah, I'm excited for the State Open. It'll be my first one. So.
What a cool experience to be able to have with your child, huh, Derek? That's pretty sweet. Abby, who are you rooting for?
I gotta go with Ryan on this one.
They can argue all day, every day, and then it comes to this, and it's going with Ryan.
Clearly, Abby doesn't need any new clothes for the school year, huh? Oh, that's funny. Well, what a cool experience for you.
Yeah.
What a cool experience for you guys to be able to go through as a family. That is very, very sweet. Before we close here, one thing we'd like to talk about, the pandemic has really made us think about supporting local businesses, and obviously, Rush Creek is the heart of the our golf community here on the west side. But David and I want to talk about any kind of a local business, just something non-chain that you supported in the last week. So we'll go through. I'll start it off. I was actually in Vegas this week. My wife's volleyball team made it to nationals, so they're in Vegas, and I went with. And when I go to Vegas, there's this place called Hattie B's. The original is in Nashville at the end of Broadway, but it's Nashville Hot Chicken in Nashville. And they have one location in Vegas on the Cosmo on the second floor. So chicken tenders and sides. I know I'm a real fancy eater, but it's always one of my favorite spots. And then we actually went out and supported our first live comedy in I don't know how many years. We went and saw Dave Chappelle at MGM Grand. So he was there with The Roots and Jeff Ross and a couple others, and it was a really, really cool show. So kind of fun to support some of that stuff that we haven't had for quite a while. And so some
you saw
good.
You saw Chappelle and Ross at the same time.
It was Ross opened for Chappelle, and then another guy Darnell that was on the Chappelle show was another opener, and then the Roots, who does all the music for Jimmy Fallon, they did like an hour of music, and Chappelle sang some songs with them, and it was a really it was a very cool experience.
Did Ross roast anybody?
Everyone. He's just payback for all the Comedy Central roasts. But yeah, it was a very, very cool experience. It was pretty funny. He did a nice job of offending everyone. So, Brandy, who do you got for local businesses this week?
I've got two this week. Prior to the show tonight, I was at Gianni's in Wayzata Boulevard. Terry Hummel, who owns the place. If you guys have not been to Gianni's, this is one of the best steakhouses I've ever been at. I've never had a bad meal. The service is impeccable. It's just a fantastic place. We sat outside tonight with a good friend of mine, former member, and just had a great time. My second one is a little bit smaller of a place. It's called Shriners. It's off of 371 in Jenkins, Minnesota. It's a newer place in the last couple years. It's basically on the way up to the Brainerd Lakes, or up to the Whitefish Chain area. If you guys get a chance, this is a small little place with some crafty cocktails. I had the ham and cheese sandwich, which was out of this world. I can't actually remember what my kids ordered, but it was really good. Prices were very reasonable, and the owner likes to give some little funny entertainment behind the bar. It's really just a nice little family-owned restaurant. So Shriners in Jenkins, kind of Pine River area in northern Minnesota.
Awesome. So Stendahls, any local businesses that you guys have supported recently that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so in looking into that, I was wondering, does the Minnesota PGA count? Because there's a lot of entities going to the Minnesota PGA. But, obviously it kind of revolves around golf. But Ryan had a U.S. Junior qualifier at Pioneer Creek. And so we went and we were lucky enough to go play a practice round. So shout out to everybody at Pioneer Creek. That was a lot of fun. So we got to do some stuff there. And then, of course, when you're in that area, we stopped at the Oxyoke and had dinner. Can't beat that.
So good.
In that area, right? So
that's great.
So good.
And I think there was some chicken tenders probably involved. And
it's rare. The four of us rarely play golf. Like, I think, because Abby, really the first time I remember her playing was last summer when Ryan did a practice round up north. We all played like a real round of golf, and it just doesn't happen because of our schedules. So we all four played at Pioneer Creek and then went out to dinner at the Oxyoke. So it was great because we all enjoyed it. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it's a fun course. It's a highly underrated course in my opinion. Like, it's a very good track.
I thought so too, Brad. I had never played there before. I had only dropped Ryan off, and I was like, this is great. Like, I really liked it too.
And what's crazy, Ryan, is actually the owners of Pioneer Creek are good friends with the Munikes, and actually the brother of the owner of Pioneer Creek owns Windsong across the street.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a brother sister, yeah. So it's a crazy, and they connect into the basketball world and you name it. So you guys know there's a lot of different connections, but no, Pioneer Creek, Oxyoke, good spots.
Yeah.
That's perfect. No, that's great. We really appreciate you guys sharing those, and we really appreciate you guys being on the air with us. This is what makes the show, is having fun guests tell stories. So thanks so much to the Stendahl family. And if you're in the Maple Grove area, please check out Rush Creek or the Mac 9. Some fun tracks. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Jarrett Yalen with Northwestern Mutual, PXG, the 3M Open, Corona Premier, and the Meadows at Mystic Lake. And yes, we can promote both Meadows at Mystic Lake and Rush Creek because they're in opposite areas of the city. So,
No problem.
two of the premier public courses, in my opinion, in the state. So try them both. And as always, you can connect with us via email at 10kswings@scorenorth.com. And please subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. So Apple, Spotify, SKOR North, and give us a 5-star rating. For episode 20 next week, we'll have Jarrett Yalen on the show to break down the John Deere Classic and preview the Open Championship. Until next week, friends, I'm Brad Cole.
I'm David Branstad.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.